Have you ever promised to change but nothing changed? You made the plan. You felt the fire, but a week later you quit. Maybe it's not your fault. Maybe you've been using the wrong system, trying to change your life with willpower alone. Atomic Habits by James Clear is not a book about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it better. It's about designing change that actually lasts. Change is hard. Not because we don't care, but because we try to do too much, too fast, with too little clarity. This is a book about the opposite. It's about the invisible power of doing one small thing right every single day. It's about building systems instead of chasing goals. It's about becoming someone, not just doing something. This isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. It's about designing the kind of life that feels aligned, quiet, strong, and real. So if you've ever failed before, this audiobook is for you. If you've ever felt stuck, this is your reset. Not with noise, but with simplicity. Welcome to the art of getting 1% better every day. We often believe that change must be dramatic to matter. We think we need bold moves, life-altering events, a total reinvention of who we are. But James Clear offers something quieter, something more powerful. The truth. Lasting change comes from the small things, tiny decisions, made again and again, until they become who we are. Imagine a plane departing from Los Angeles. Its nose shifts just 3.5 degrees south. It still looks like it's heading to New York, but it lands in Washington, D.C. instead. The difference is invisible at takeoff. But over time, it becomes massive. That's the power of atomic habits. Small adjustments that change everything. Clear calls it the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money multiplies through compound growth, habits do the same. Improve just 1% each day, and you read 37 times better by the end of the year. This isn't magic, it's math. It's physics. It's how real transformation works. Quietly, invisibly, until one day it shows. The problem is, most people quit. They don't see results quickly, so they assume nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, the system is working. Every choice you make is either building you up or pulling you back. And over time, the effects multiply. This is the slow miracle we tend to overlook. Clear urges us to focus less on goals and more on systems. Goals set the direction, but habits shape the journey. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Want better results? Don't chase outcomes. Fix the system underneath. And that starts with identity. Each habit is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Read one page. You're a reader. Write one line. You're a writer. Say no to distraction. You're becoming disciplined. Lasting change doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from becoming someone else. One small act at a time. So if nothing seems to be changing, ask yourself a new question. Not, what massive change can I make today? But what small vote can I cast right now? Because these small moments, they are not meaningless. They are the pattern of your future. You do not become what you dream. You become what you repeat. Every action you take is a vote, not just for what you want, but for who you are becoming. That's where real change starts. Not with a goal, but with identity. Most people begin with results. I want to lose weight. I want to write a book. I want to be more productive. But James Clear says start deeper. Start with who you believe you are, instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? Ask, who do I want to become? A healthy person moves daily. A writer writes. A focused mind practices stillness. Once identity shifts, behavior follows. Habits aren't just tools, they're proof. Every small action is evidence. Eat one healthy meal. It's proof you care. Skip a workout. It's fine if you come back. What you do becomes your story. But identity can limit you too. If you believe I'm always lazy, you'll act like it. Even if you want to change, we follow the story we tell ourselves. That's why identity change is the root. New behavior must feel like it belongs to the new you. Think of identity like layers. The outer layer is the outcome. The middle is the process. At the core is who you believe you are. Most people work outside, but lasting change? It works inside out. So today ask this instead. What kind of person would do this? Then act like that person, even in small ways. Because change isn't about goals, it's about becoming. And each habit is a silent vote for your future self. Every habit follows a loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. This is how behavior works, every time, even when you don't realize it. It begins with a cue, a trigger, a light, a sound. A time of day something grabs your attention, then comes the craving. It's not for the thing, but for the feeling it brings. You don't crave coffee, you crave alertness. You don't crave a scroll, you crave stimulation. That feeling drives you to respond. You drink, you check, you act. The action is the response to the craving, and that response brings a reward. The reward teaches your brain. It says, "This felt good, let's do it again." Over time, this loop strengthens. Cue, craving, response, reward. That's the cycle. That's how habits form. James Clear calls this the habit loop, and it explains everything. From brushing your teeth to checking your phone. When you understand it, you can change it. You can adjust each part or build a new loop entirely. Here's how. Make the cue obvious. Make the craving attractive. Make the response easy. And make the reward satisfying. That's the 4 laws of behavior change. It's not theory, it's a system for real change. So don't just rely on motivation. Design the loop. Control the environment. Make good habits easy to see. Bad ones harder to reach. Because in the end, habits don't just shape your day, they shape who you are. Sometimes you just know something feels wrong. Can't explain it, but your body knows. Your brain senses it. A receptionist at a hospital saw a man. She said he doesn't look right. No symptoms, no data, just instinct. Later, he had a stroke, and she was right. She had seen thousands of faces. Her brain noticed a pattern. It wasn't conscious, it was habit. Observation repeated daily. That habit saved a life. This is what habits do. They don't just shape action, they shape perception. They change how you see the world. The brain becomes trained to detect subtle cues. Eat healthy often. Junk food feels wrong. Meditate daily. Noise feels louder. Write every day. Ideas come faster. Habits sharpen your awareness. They shape what you notice. They shape what you ignore. And this happens silently. Habits become instinct. And instinct becomes action. You don't need to think, because your brain has learned. Through repetition, through time. So never underestimate what you repeat. What you do often becomes how you think. What you repeat becomes who you are. Because one day, when it matters, you might be the one who sees what others miss. Many people wait. They wait for the perfect time. It's the right mood, the perfect motivation. But James Clear says, don't wait. Start small. Start now. The best way to start a new habit is not with pressure, not with big plans, but with clarity. Get so clear that you can't ignore it. Don't just say, I want to exercise. Say, I will walk for 10 minutes. After I finish breakfast. This is called implementation intention. It's powerful, because vague intentions don't work, but clear plans. They create action. They give your brain a path, and habits need paths. The formula is simple. I will behavior at time and location. That's it. For example, I will write for 5 minutes at my desk right after lunch. You don't leave it to chance. You build it into reality. Environment matters too. You're more likely to follow through. If the environment supports the habit, if you want to read, keep a book on your pillow. If you want to drink water, leave a bottle on your table. Make the cue obvious. Make the habit easy. Because success doesn't come from doing it all. It comes from doing it once. Then again. Then again. You don't need a huge leap. You need a small step. Repeated with care. So stop waiting for the perfect mood. Don't rely on motivation. Rely on structure, on clarity, on simplicity. Make it so easy to start that you can't help but begin. And once you begin, momentum will take care of the rest. We think success comes from motivation, from willpower, from discipline that never breaks. But James Clear says that's a myth. The truth is simpler and far more powerful. Environment beats motivation almost every time. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your surroundings. If junk food is on the table, you'll eat it. If your phone is nearby, you'll check it. Your brain takes cues from what it sees, not just from what it wants. You act based on what's around you. Want to change your behavior? Don't try harder. Design better. Want to eat less sugar? Remove it from your house. Want to work more deeply? Put your phone in another room, out of sight, out of mind. Habits are not just a matter of will, they're a matter of design. You follow the path of least resistance. If a good habit is hard to do, you won't do it. But bad habit is easy. You'll do it without thinking. So make good habits easy. Make bad habits invisible. This is called environmental design. It's not about pushing yourself. It's about pulling yourself into a better flow. Shape the room. Shape your tools. Shape the light, the space, the access. Let the space work for you, not against you. That's how lasting habits are born. Imagine this: a person who meditates every day, not because they're more disciplined, but because they always sit in the same quiet spot, with a candle, with no phone, with no noise. Environment makes it effortless. So stop blaming your willpower. Stop waiting for motivation. Instead, look around. What's in your space? What does it invite you to do? Because in the end, you don't just act like who you want to be, you act like where you are. We admire people with self-control, the ones who resist temptation, who say no to cake, no to distraction, no to comfort. We think they're stronger, more disciplined, but James Clear says, the truth is different. The best self-control is no control at all. Not because they fight harder, but because they fight less. They avoid the fight entirely. They don't test their willpower. They design their world so temptation doesn't appear. If you want to stop watching TV, unplug it. If you want to eat less sugar, don't bring it home. If you want to scroll less, delete the app. You don't need to be stronger. You need to be smarter with your space. The people with the best discipline aren't more heroic. They've simply removed more friction. They've reduced exposure. They don't rely on mood or motivation. They rely on design. That's the real secret to self-control. Because willpower is a muscle, and muscles get tired. The more decisions you have to make, the weaker your resistance becomes. That's why people cave in late at night. That's why bad habits show up when you're tired, and why good habits disappear when life gets hard. So if you want to be strong, don't wait to resist. Remove the trigger. Make temptation invisible. Behavior becomes automatic. Not through force, but through freedom from the fight. You are not weak for struggling. You're just surrounded by signals. And every signal is a suggestion. So if you want a different outcome, send different signals. Because true self-control isn't about saying no louder. It's about hearing temptation less often. We do what feels good. That's the truth. Even when we know better. Even when we have other plans. Your brain is wired to chase rewards. It's not weakness. It's biology. Every habit begins with a craving, but not just for the thing itself. You crave the feeling it brings. You don't want a cigarette. You want relief. You don't want Instagram. You want distraction. You want escape. James Clear says, if you want to build better habits, you have to make them attractive. Because your brain follows what feels rewarding. If something feels good, even a little, you'll come back to it, again and again. This is where the brain's dopamine system comes in. You don't just get dopamine from reward, you get it from anticipation. The expectation of pleasure is often more powerful than the reward itself. Your brain lights up before the habit happens. That's what pulls you in. So, how do we use this? By pairing what you want to do with something you need to do. Clear calls it temptation bundling. Listen to your favorite podcast while you exercise. Drink your favorite tea while you study. Make the habit sweeter through association. You can also use social belonging. We imitate the habits of those we admire. Surround yourself with people who already live the way you want to live. We become like those around us to make their habits your mirror, make their identity your new influence. Behavior begins to shift. Attractive habits stick. Not because they're easy, but because your brain wants them. So give your habits a reason to feel good. Build a world where good feels natural, where discipline feels rewarding, and you'll return. Not out of force, but out of desire. We become like those around us, not just in speech or clothing, but in behavior, in dreams, in discipline, in habits, small and large. Humans are social creatures. We want to belong. We copy to connect. We imitate to feel accepted. And that imitation shapes who we become. Without realizing it, we absorb the identity of our group. James Clear says, there are 3 groups that shape us: the close, the many, and the powerful. The close are family and friends. The many is society. The powerful are those we respect. When your family eats fast food, it feels normal. When your friends stay up late, so do you. When your coworkers check their phones every 5 minutes, you copy them. You're not weak. You're wired to mirror your tribe. And that wiring becomes habit. So if you want better habits, surround yourself with people who already live them. Join a culture where the desired behavior is normal. Find a group where your future self feels at home, because nothing sustains behavior like identity. And nothing shapes identity like community. You'll rise or fall with the expectations of those around you. If your group believes in growth, so will you. If they normalize discipline, you'll follow, not through pressure, but through belonging. You will act like who you want to remain close to. So choose your tribe with intention. Don't just find people who do what you do. Find people who live who you want to be. Because over time, you don't just pick up their habits, you pick up their future. And slowly, it becomes yours too. Every bad habit has a reason. You might not see it, you might not admit it, but it's there, hidden beneath the surface, driving the action again and again. We repeat bad habits, not because we enjoy them, but because they solve a problem. They give relief or distraction or escape. They help us feel better for a moment. James Clear says, every behavior has a function, even the bad ones. So before you break a habit, you need to ask, what need is this meeting? What pain is this masking? What feeling am I trying to change? You don't smoke just to smoke. You smoke to relax. You don't scroll endlessly just for fun. You scroll to avoid something heavier. Work, sadness, silence. We escape the present because it feels uncomfortable. That's why bad habits are hard to break. Because they're not just behaviors. They're coping mechanisms. Take away the habit, and the pain is still there. Unless you replace the source of relief with something better, something healthier, to fix the root. Observe without judgment. Watch your patterns. Notice the time, the place, the emotion. Ask what comes before the habit. That's where the real trigger lives. Awareness is the first step. Naming it gives you power over it. So if you want to change the habit, don't just cut the behavior. Cut the need behind it. Heal the trigger. Redesign the response. Give yourself a better solution. And because every habit is a solution, you just need a better one. Progress is not a straight line. It's a rhythm. Forward, pause, repeat. Sometimes it's fast, other times painfully slow. But James Clear reminds us, slow is not the same as backward. When we move slowly, we feel like we're failing. But the truth is, consistency beats speed. You don't need to win today. You just need to not quit. Because habits compound in silence, until one day they explode. Clear gives us a rule: never miss twice. You'll have off days. You'll slip. You'll forget. But the key is this: come back. Turn before the habit dies. Missing once is human. Missing twice is a pattern. The second miss opens the door to guilt, to excuses, to the story that says, I always mess things up. But you are not that story. You are what you return to, not what you failed to do once. Progress lives in the return, in the quiet decision to show up again, even when it feels small, even when no one sees it. So walk slowly. Take your time. Build it quietly. Let the world rush while you master rhythm. You don't need a finish line. You need direction and faith in small steps. Because success isn't about speed, it's about the refusal to go backward, to drift into old stories, to give in to the easy path. So if all you can do today is one small step, that's enough. Just don't stop. Don't turn around. We are wired to choose ease, not because we're lazy, but because our brain loves efficiency. When faced with two options, we take the one that requires less energy. This is called the law of least effort, and it shapes everything. You brush your teeth because the brush is right there. You scroll because your phone is in your hand. You snack because the chips are on the table. You don't plan these things. They happen because they're easy, effortless, immediate. James Clear says, if you want to build good habits, make them easier to do. Reduce the steps, lower the friction, simplify the path. Because the easier it is, the more likely it happens. Put your book on your pillow. Lay out your shoes the night before. Pre-chop the vegetables. Move every excuse, every delay. Make the good habit the path of least resistance. So you follow it without thinking, without effort. The same law works in reverse. Make bad habits harder. Unplug the TV, delete the app, move the snacks, increase the effort, even by a little, and the desire starts to fade. You don't need more willpower. You need better design, a better layout, a better sequence. Environment is stronger than motivation because effort always finds the easiest way through. So ask yourself today, how can I make it easier to do what's right? Not more heroic, not more perfect, just easier. Because that's how real change lasts. Through small adjustments and smoother paths. Big goals feel heavy. Write a book. Get in shape. Start a business. It sounds exciting, but overwhelming. So we delay. We hesitate. We freeze. James Clear gives us a simple solution. The 2-minute rule. It works like this. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Just 2 minutes, not more. Just enough to begin. Don't write a book. Just open your notebook. Don't run 5 miles. Just put on your shoes. Don't clean the whole kitchen. Just wash 1 plate. The point is to start, because once you start, momentum takes over. Small actions break resistance. They silence the voice that says not now. They interrupt the loop of delay and invite motion, not perfection, just movement. It's not about doing less. It's about lowering the entry, making the first step so small that it feels ridiculous to avoid. You can't fail at reading 1 page. You can't fail at opening your laptop. You just begin, gently. And here's the secret. Mastering the habit of starting is the gateway to mastering the habit itself. You become the kind of person who shows up, who moves forward, even if it's only for 2 minutes. So the next time you feel stuck, don't think bigger. Think smaller. Much smaller. Because a good habit often begins with just a breath and the courage to start. For 2 quiet minutes. Most people try to change through willpower. They push. They force. They fight temptation every day. But James Clear offers something better. Don't rely on will. Rely on structure. There's a concept called a commitment device. It's a choice you make now that locks in your future behavior. It removes the option to fail, not by pressure, but by design. It makes the good habit inevitable. Want to save more money? So automatically transfer funds every payday? Want to study every day? Block distracting sites before you sit down? Want to go to the gym? Schedule it with a friend who waits for you. You've removed the escape hatch. You've built the trap for your own success. On the other hand, make bad habits impossible. Cancel the subscription. Throw away the cigarettes. Put the phone in another room. Lock yourself out of what no longer serves you. Because friction works both ways. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's to make bad choices harder and good ones automatic. Let the default settings serve you. So even when motivation fades, the system stays, and it guides you forward. Imagine living in a world where doing the right thing takes no effort. Where the easiest path leads exactly where you want to go. That world doesn't build itself, but it can be designed, one decision at a time. So ask yourself, what can I remove today that holds me back? And what can I lock in that makes my success unavoidable? Because the best habits don't need to be remembered. They're built to be automatic. What makes a habit stick? Not how big it is, Not how long it takes, but how it makes you feel. James Clear calls this the cardinal rule of behavior change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. Your brain chases satisfaction, not someday, but now. If a habit feels good right away, you'll return. Even if the long-term result is small, emotion is the signal. This is why bad habits thrive. Junk food tastes good now. Scrolling feels good now. Procrastination brings relief. Right now, the reward is instant. And the brain says, yes, let's do it again, even if regret comes later. So how do we make good habits stick? It's by giving them an immediate reward. Celebrate the small wins. Mark the calendar. Check the box. Smile at the effort. Because small pleasure builds deep repetition. This isn't childish. It's neuroscience. Dopamine rises with satisfaction. Your brain wants to return where it felt good. If the habit feels dry, boring, or slow, it fades. Even if it's good for you, use habit trackers, use visual cues. Create satisfying endings. Make it feel complete. Give your brain closure. And your habit becomes more than just behavior. It becomes emotionally wired. So ask yourself, how can I make this feel good now? Not later. Not someday. Because joy is not the enemy of discipline. Joy is the engine. And repetition runs on joy. Building a habit is one thing. Sticking with it is another. It's easy to start, harder to continue. Not because you're lazy, but because life gets in the way. So how do we stay on track? James Clear gives us a tool. It's simple. It's visual. It's powerful. It's called a habit tracker. Every time you do the habit, you mark it. One small X1 visual win. That X becomes a symbol of effort, of momentum, of identity. It's not just a mark on paper, it's proof you showed up. And the longer the chain, the harder it is to break. You begin to crave the streak. It's not because it's perfect, but because it's progress. And progress feels good. Missing one day is fine, but missing two, that's how the chain dissolves. Tracking works because it makes the invisible visible. Habits are quiet, but a tracker, loud and clear, it reminds you of who you're becoming. It's not just what you're doing, and that reminder keeps you coming back. The tracker doesn't have to be complex. A calendar, a journal, a simple app. It's not about data, it's about rhythm. And rhythm builds consistency. So if you want to stick with your habit, don't just rely on memory. Rely on visibility. Make your progress easy to see. Let the tracker reflect your quiet discipline, because every mark matters, and every day you show up, you cast another vote for who you are. Left alone, we bend, we postpone, we justify. But when someone's watching, we rise, we show up, we try harder. This is the power of accountability. Not guilt, not pressure, but presence, which James Clear says. When you know someone is paying attention, your behavior sharpens, your focus returns. An accountability partner is not a judge. They're a mirror. They reflect your goals back to you. They remind you of the promises you made, not loudly, just by being there. Could be a friend, a mentor, a group, even a text message once a week. What matters is the agreement. What matters is consistency. I will do this. You will check. The stakes change when you're seen. You're no longer just disappointing yourself. You're held. Not trapped, but supported. You're pulled forward by commitment and care. You can even raise the stakes. Public goals, written declarations, small penalties, fun rewards. No, these structures aren't about pressure. They're about intention, turning quiet hopes into real habits. So don't go alone. Bring someone into your change. Let them hold you to your best. Because when effort is shared, discipline becomes lighter, and transformation becomes inevitable. We are not all the same. We're born with different bodies, different brains, different instincts. And James Clear says, that matters, because talent is real, but it's only the beginning. Your genes create your natural zone, space where effort feels easier, where progress flows faster. You can build habits in any area, but in the right area, you build them deeper, and they last longer. So how do you find your space? Pay attention to what feels light, to what energizes you, not what impresses others, but what gives you life. That's your signal. That's your field. When you work with your nature, habits click into place. You don't just force progress. You ride momentum. You go further with less friction because you're aligned. Not fighting your own design. But talent is not destiny. It's a direction. Effort still matters. Practice still shapes the outcome. Even the gifted must work. Even the driven must rest. The key is balance, not bias. Comparison steals clarity. Don't copy someone else's path. Design your own, based on who you are and where you thrive. Because in the end, success is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing. For you, too easy, you get bored. Too hard, you give up. But right in the middle, that's where motivation lives. James Clear calls it the Goldilocks Rule. Not too cold, not too hot, just right. Your brain loves challenge, but only the right amount. Something just beyond your current ability, not impossible, just enough to stretch you, enough to make you focus, to bring you alive. Think of a musician. They don't repeat the same note forever. They seek the edge, where skill meets uncertainty. That's where growth begins, and where effort feels like joy, not struggle. If you want to stay motivated, work where tension and talent meet. Push gently, not recklessly. Find the line, walk along it. Don't leap past it. Progress is what fuels persistence, not perfection. When you see yourself improving, even slowly, you come back because growth feels good. It proves the effort matters. And when boredom comes, you don't need a new goal. You need a new challenge, slightly harder, slightly deeper. A new level within your zone. That's how momentum stays alive. So remember, the sweet spot is not comfort. It's challenge without chaos. It's learning without drowning. It's discipline with direction. And if you stay in that space long enough, mastery finds you there. Habits give us freedom, structure, clarity. But James Clear warns us, there's a shadow. Even good habits can lead to stagnation. The danger is automation. When actions become so routine, we stop thinking, we stop noticing, we stop growing. Comfort replaces curiosity and excellence fades into autopilot. You might go to the gym, but stop improving. You might write every day, but stop refining. You repeat the motion, but lose the meaning. Consistency becomes a cage. That's the downside. Habits make life easier, but if we're not careful, they make life smaller, predictable, dull, safe, but lifeless. So what's the antidote? Reflection. Awareness. Challenge. Ask yourself, is this still helping me grow? Am I doing this with intention or inertia? Sometimes you need to disrupt your pattern. Try it a new way. Raise the bar. Shift the angle. Not to destroy the habit, but to reawaken its purpose. Because good habits are tools, it's not prisons, and the goal isn't just repetition, it's evolution. So honor the habit, but don't worship it. Let it serve you, not silence you. Your brain is busy. Every second, it's processing, filtering, choosing. And to survive all that noise, it builds habits, not out of laziness, but out of efficiency. Habits are mental shortcuts. They save energy. They reduce decision fatigue. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth, or tying your shoes, or locking your door. It just happens automatically. James Clear explains. The brain loves automation. It turns repeated actions into patterns, so it can focus on new problems, bigger questions, unexpected events. This is how we evolve. But here's the risk. Automatic doesn't mean optimal. Just because a habit is easy doesn't mean it's right. The brain runs the script, even if it no longer serves you, even if it quietly harms you. So awareness is everything. You must watch your autopilot. Interrupt the loop, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask, why do I do this? And what else is possible? The brain builds habits to protect itself, but you can teach it new ones. With repetition, with design, with intention. You are not fixed. You are programmable. So use that truth wisely. Every repetition rewires you. Every choice trains your future. The brain will follow your lead if you dare to lead it, because behind every habit, is a mind waiting to grow. Automatic feels safe. It feels smooth, familiar. But James Clear reminds us, there's danger in repetition. Because when behavior becomes mindless, growth begins to fade. You start the habit, you master the routine, and then you stop noticing, you stop adjusting. You keep going, but stop becoming. This is the shadow side of success. You improve, and then settle. You do the work, but forget why it matters. The behavior survives, but the intention dies. Without awareness, automation becomes blindness. You repeat the steps but lose the soul. You drift. Quietly. Comfortably. So what's the remedy? Reflection. Pause. Adjustment. Don't just do. Watch yourself doing. Ask, is this still serving me? Or has it become hollow? Great habits aren't just automatic, they are alive. They evolve with you. They respond to new goals, to new seasons, to the deeper version of you that you haven't met yet. So revisit your routines. Don't fear disruption. Growth isn't about more effort. It's about better awareness. Because automation is power, but only when it's awake. Even the best systems drift. Even good habits grow stale. That's not failure. It's nature. You don't need to rebuild everything. You just need a reset. Resetting is not starting over. It's pausing, reflecting, asking, what's working? What's not? Who am I now? And what do I need next? That's where growth lives. Most people don't review their lives. They just repeat them, week after week, habit after habit. But reflection changes that. It gives you choice. It gives you direction. Set time to check in, weekly, monthly, yearly. Look at your habits like a garden. Some are blooming, some need trimming, some need to be replaced entirely. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Ask better questions. What habit brings me peace? Which one brings anxiety? What did I do this week that truly moved me forward? You'll find answers in the silence. If you're willing to look, build rituals of review, not big dramatic ones. It's just small moments of clarity, a quiet walk, a blank page, a pause before the next task. These moments reset more than your schedule. They reset yourself. Because the best version of you doesn't come from doing more. It comes from noticing more, choosing with care, realigning with purpose. So don't fear the reset. It's not an end. It's the beginning of better. Habits matter, systems matter, environment matters. There's one thing that changes everything. One force beneath it all. Identity. True change is not behavior. It's not goals. It's not performance. It's belief. It's not I want to run, but I am a runner. That shift rewires everything. When identity leads, habits follow. You don't need to force discipline. You become discipline. You don't chase consistency. You live it, because it's who you are now. So how do you change identity? You build it. One small proof at a time. Every time you write, you prove. I'm a writer. Every workout says, I'm strong. Every choice is a vote. You don't need a landslide. Just enough votes to tip the balance. To rewrite the story. To see yourself differently, permanently. And once that story changes, everything else follows. You'll protect it, you'll defend it, you'll grow into it. Not because you have to, but because it's you. So ask yourself now, not what do I want to achieve, but who do I want to become? And then prove it. One habit at a time, quietly, consistently, until the world catches up to who you already are. You don't need a massive breakthrough. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to begin, gently, quietly. Today, Atomic Habits was never about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about small steps, done with intention, and repeated until they shape your future. You already know what to do. You've always known, but now you know how to begin. So ask yourself, what is one small vote I can cast for the person I want to become, not next year, not next month? Now, just one habit, one step, one silent shift. And if this audiobook helped you pause, helped you breathe, helped you see yourself again, then stay. Subscribe and keep walking with us, because this is just the beginning.